All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to a Happy New Year version of Let's Dig Music Together in the listening room. And I'm going to bring myself in here. We actually had an earlier take of this. Here, I'm your host, Elliot Miles McKinley. Um, so we had just about 20 minutes ago, we actually did an improv that we thought was going out to the house. And one of the problems with having the house as being you on the internet is that we're not always sure about whether or not it's actually working. Because until somebody told me that they weren't hearing audio. So obviously we want people um, to hear audio. So that's a plus, right? So you can hear me. So if you are watching, if you were watching and you saw us happily gesticulating and as we were making music and you heard nothing, thank you for coming back. If you're just joining us, what I thought we would do, I invited my friend Pete over. So Pete is, let's see, over on here. There he is. Uh, yeah, you wave. So Pete's in my living room. We are getting together here on New Year's. We're social distancing for two things. One is for social distancing, but also from practicality standpoint, I'm kind of in like a little sunroom area, and he's in the living room, so he's about 10 feet in that direction from me. Anyway, Pete and I like to get together every now and then, talk about music and stuff, and we play in a improv collective called Earworm, which I've sometimes made recordings and things available. And Earworm is a free improv collective that was founded by friends of mine and myself about, well, now 12 years ago. And Pete kind of joins in every now and then, and Pete lives not far from me, so we get together and sometimes play. And we actually haven't played. Actually, man, the last time we played was last New Year's, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time. If you can't hear Pete very well, it's just because he's got a mic that's just there to pick up his horn. Anyway, so we do like to improvise, and this is free improvisation. So um, if you have any questions about what that is, like what is free improvisation and what are we doing and what are we using and all this stuff, please feel free to ask. Please also chime in on the chat. Say hello if you are watching. It would be maybe kind of cool to see if somebody is in fact watching and listening. Let us know if the audio is working or not working, and if it's working, I would love to hear if I would love to hear a response if it's working and it sounds good. So not just that you're hearing it, but if it sounds okay, if it's not getting clipped or anything. This is also a bit of a bit of an experiment to see if how well I can transmit live audio out. So I've got a couple of keyboards on either side of me here. One is little MIDI keyboard, another a little 49 key keyboard that I use for composing. I didn't set a whole lot up. You'll see a screen when I switch over to this screen here. That screen is going to be kind of what you'll watch when we're performing. Let me see if I can just take a look. So you'll see that there's Pete over here, over, well, it's hard. I'm still getting used to this whole uh, green screen backdrop. But what's behind me is, in fact, a little snapshot of Ableton Live, which is kind of routing all the audio through. I don't have a whole lot of things set up. We don't really honestly know what we're going to do from, from we don't know what we're going to do, right? So that's the beauty of free improvisation. Um, this is not an ideal performance setup. I don't really have my keyboard set up in like a really great ergonomic way, and I've got a coffee cup here in the middle. So, um, and in fact, my keyboard is not really greatly positioned, nor is my sustain pedal, which I just put in. But anyway, let's play something for you, and then hopefully guys can let us know. Now, last time we were kind of doing this little ballad thing. We usually settle in these ballad things because when you do free improvisation, um, Well, we can talk about the nature of free improvisation and really what that means and usually what ends up happening in these circumstances. But I'm going to put my coffee cup over here because I don't want to. This is it. This is, by the way, not composers at home drinking coffee cup. This is actually an ember, which is a totally first world thing, but I love it. I'll maybe tell you about it later. Okay, cool. Hey man, you ready to make a little music?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we like music. So let's do some music. I will mute this microphone so you don't hear me talking or clicking, and let's do something. Okay, cool. Yeah. So did you guys hear that? Was anybody watching could hear it? Uh, let me check the comments and see if we got anything. Well, we don't have any comments right now, but that was just a little improv. It was very different than the first one we did that you didn't hear. Um, but it's kind of interesting when we do these little free improvs that one of the important issues when you do any kind of improv is to you want to limit your choices, but you also want to be careful not to limit your choices too much because uh, in the course of the improvisation, many things can happen and many possible directions can occur. Um, at the moment, so if anybody has questions about what we're doing, hi Dick. Um, Dick Smoot says hi. And there goes the 13-year-old. Thanks for tuning in. Did you Dick? Did you hear any of what we did, and did it sound like anything? Because that's also always a good question. I don't know how it sounds out in the in the Facebook and YouTube universe. Oh, okay, you're on an iPhone. All right, yeah. Yeah, who knows? Anyway, so that was an introductory little improv. Um, um, Sometimes our improvisations last. Well, it depends. Depends on also the people. Also, it depends on who's playing with us. If it's just Pete and I, sometimes we can shift in many kinds of different directions. If it's uh, a bit of cracking, yeah, it could be internet, it could be us. It could also be that maybe the signal's too hot. If anyone else is listening and if our signal is too hot, I can always back it down a little bit in the mixer, just to make sure that we're not oversaturating. I don't see any things that make it look like I've hit. Although I think I did in the Ableton's master. I think I might have actually hit a couple of reds there. So I might turn that down just a bit. Anyway, So yeah, the interesting thing is when you have a lot of choices, it can be difficult to limit yourself, but also it can be crippling because you've got so many choices. And so like basically it's nice that I only have two keyboards. The only and I just mapped a couple of little sounds to them. I haven't really done a whole lot of sound mapping. Um, Normally when I do an improv show, when Pete and I do improv shows, uh, I'll usually have a whole kind of litany of different sounds that I will have programmed and I could pretty much get access to pretty quickly. Um, but in this case, I didn't set it up like this. I don't consider this to be, it's a live show, I guess, but it's not a live, like you're not ordering drinks. Although you probably maybe drinking would be a better with free improvisation. Anyway, so overall balance seems good. Static could be anyway. It's true. Anyway, thanks, Dick. Thanks for tuning in. Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New everybody. Happy New Year. I suppose what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the Ableton session for the moment. I'm going to save it as something because I like to save these things um, for posterity, as it were. Set twos two, stop. Okay. And kind of clear the deck a little bit from memory points of view. Save it as something else. And we'll set live 2 2. If you have questions for Pete, I will be the interloper, as it were. There he is in his regal glory, looking at you. All right, so pop that off there. Pete, how'd you feel about that?
I felt good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was some beautiful sounds you came up with there. Very good.
yeah, yeah. We kind of got into like this D Phrygian thing,
Yeah.
um, which was totally impromptu. Um, but that's kind of where things tended to
Yeah. We sort of
settled in that.
somehow we go off in a different direction, and then the other guy comes, joins in, and we get into something new. It's funny how it developed.
It's funny how any of this happens.
Interesting.
So cool beans. All right, good. Well, we'll uh play another maybe another improvisation for you folks. Um, and then maybe we'll take a break and come back and maybe play some more. Sounds good to you, Pete?
Yeah.
Might do another one. Um,
If I use a tenor this time.
you're going to use the tenor this time. Okay. That sounds like a plan.
Stan.
A plan a plan that Stan likes. We like all plans that Stan likes, including the ones that he doesn't. Um, all right. Let's see. I don't know what that's doing. Oh, that's cool. Okay. All right, great. Well, let's see what happens on the next one. So, again, folks, please if you're watching, say hello. Let us know that you're out there and that we're not just alone. But again, we would be alone anyways, so it doesn't really matter. And ask us questions. We're not taking requests because it's free improv, so you can tell us to be more free or less free, but you can't call out tunes. So there's that. All right. So let's do something else, and I will start the recording process here. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Put that on your 45.
Yeah. I think we might have run over the 45 limit, but hey. Cool. Oh, Justin. Hey, Justin. Justin Moore
Hey, hey, Justin.
says, "Hey, Pete, sounds good." All right, good.
Thank you.
Justin, how's the audio on YouTube? Does it sound okay? If you're still watching. Um, all right. So that was another thing. I no. So the funny thing that you don't see that normally I try to make it so that the audience doesn't see what's going on. Obviously, you can see me manipulating a little bit of things here in Ableton, but you actually can't see all the tracks. So, um, but I got into a pickle on that one because I started a bass line. I started doing this. Yeah, you guys can still hear that, right? Now I wanted to loop that. Okay, no, normally I could do it. But I had it where I was playing it with this hand. Oh, sorry, I was playing it with this hand, which is my left hand, which is where I'd play a bass line. And I was using the mouse and I realized I didn't record arm the track. So, and if I and the funny thing with Ableton uh, is that if I click record arm, it's gonna unarm everything else unless I hold the option key, or I think, yeah, option key on the Mac. So, and I couldn't hold the option key, play, and do the thing at the same time. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to just keep playing this, and because what I wanted to do is automate it, and then I could start building on it. So I got stuck in that. So that was kind of an interesting, like I'm just sort of letting you know what happens sometimes in these situations where the technology is great, except in that moment when you really need it, and I should have record armed that track. Now, if I record armed that track, I would have been able to record what I was doing, and then I could have started playing that, and then I could switch sounds and do some other things anyway. Um, so that was a funny moment. And I at one point I switched hands because I wanted to start playing something. Now I've got this little tiny keyboard. You guys, let's see if I can see that. I got this little Akai, right? So I just have two little keyboards, and this is small keys. So then this I started playing. I normally would want to play, like, say, the Fender Rhodes on the bigger keyboard, the full size keyboard, which I also have a sustain pedal. That wasn't going to happen because I was stuck playing the bass line over there. So I had to do switch. And then, of course, these keys are not good for playing, really. You can play bass lines on them and, single one finger things. It's not good for performing. It sucks for performing. So then I was trying to, yeah. So anyway, it's kind of funny. Those of you who do improvisation and use electronics with improvisation probably were familiar with some of these funny situations that happen. But anyway, that's that. Any audio is working fine on my end. Great, awesome. Thanks, man. Nice to. Thanks for tuning in. Justin says it sounds okay. Great. Um, okay. Well, Pete and I are going to take we're going to take a little set break, and we'll come back and we'll play at least one more set for you. Pete and I will probably also play some other things that may or may not be streamed live, but I'll probably make them available on SoundCloud or something like that. Pete, how'd you feel about that?
Oh, that was great. Yeah, a little more aggressive.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's also one of those things, and those of you who do improvisation can probably appreciate this. That I wish I had a drummer, or to kind of take over that, because usually if I'm doing stuff with a solo with Pete, or even sometimes with James or something like this, James Holdman, who's another fellow improviser. We have to either do loops, which are fine, and maybe I'll when we come back, I'll show you a little under the hood stuff of some of the things that I do with the loops.
Yeah,
We
let's
might
do some loops.
We'll do some loops, fruit loops. So we'll probably do some loops. We'll do some looping stuff. But nothing beats a live drummer, right? Remember that
Yeah.
time, man, we played that show uh, at the Black Dog, and we had Nick Zielinski, who's
Yeah.
a really those of you who are from the Twin Cities should know Nick Zielinski, who's a terrific drummer. And that was so much fun because he was such a free and flexible player, but also could lay down a groove.
Yeah, he was good.
He was good. That was fun. But anyway, drummer would be nice. Um, to kind of take some of that shoulder some of that burden. But anyway, um, any other thoughts or questions before we take a little pause? We might come back around maybe 5:30 and play a little bit more for you. So I guess on that end, we'll come back for part deux.
Uh,
Duh. We're gonna get some coffee. We need some coffee. You want a coffee up, man?
Coffee up, yes.
All right, it's coffee up time. So we'll meet you back here probably right around 5:30. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you soon.